Welcome to the Everyday Awesome Project, where we bring you inspirational stories and game-changing strategies to live your most awesome life. Hey, superstars, welcome back. Polly here.
And Sam Pruitt. What's up, my beautiful humans?
Hey, guys, we have well, first I want to say before we just dive right into our episode, I just wanted to welcome you back, my dear. I know what you guys don't know, but in the background, Miss Pruitt has been battling a health dip, if you will. And so I just wanted to say I appreciate you for showing up today, even though you're not feeling 100%. And maybe you want to talk a little bit about what's been going on this week and how it leads mostly into what we're talking about today, right? Oh, apropos.
Somehow, most of our topics do. Everyday
Exactly.
awesome. Yeah,
Exactly.
I was on a big business trip. I'm on the production team for Ironman World Championships. There's 3 races stacked back to back to back around the globe. I'm on that team to produce. And so this last one, I was in Kona producing the men's race. I had an amazing race. It was mind-boggling, and our team absolutely crushed it. It was beautiful. Felt great during. Of course, we work our buns off. We don't sleep very well. We don't eat very well. All of those things that are going to happen under crunch time.
Yeah.
Normal. I got on the plane, jumped home, and got off the plane. Felt decent for about half a day. Tired, but decent. And then proceeded to wake up in the middle of that night and just start vomiting for the
Yeah.
next 48 hours.
Mm,
And so since then, I've had the flu and it's been hanging on,
mm,
and
mm.
it's slowly letting go of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I just appreciate you for making this episode happen today, even though you're not feeling 100%. And what you and I were talking in the background. So the topic we're covering today, as Samantha and I were, like, okay, what's important right now? Like, we like to keep these episodes fresh and like what's going on in life, in the world, or in our life, or things that we're seeing. And something that you brought to the conversation before we hit record is this practice. I'm going to read it. It's Kintsugi, Kintsugi, which means to join with gold, or that's one meaning of it. And this is a 15th century practice of a Japanese tradition. And it says, is a reminder for us to stay optimistic when things fall apart and to celebrate the flaws and missteps of life. So what is this for you? How did you come upon this? Like I've seen this before too, but how did you come upon it? What do you
Yeah.
think about this and how is this relating right now in your life, especially?
Yeah. Kintsugi is a Japanese art form. And what's so beautiful about it is they take broken art pieces, pottery, clay, whatever it might be, glass. They bring those pieces back together with tree sap. Actually, they use natural
Mm,
products, remold whatever the broken thing is, plate, dish, this or that, you can imagine. And then they take gold and fill in the cracks,
mm,
highlighting the broken areas
mm,
as part of the beauty of the item and the
mhm.
item's experience
Right.
through life. And I think in the human experience, which is where we play and where we live hardcore every day,
Mhm.
it's also for us. The same is so true, right?
Mhm.
We all have cracks, broken pieces, whatever that might look like over this life's journey. And we too put those pieces back together in order to march on down the path. You know, sometimes they come together easily, with that glue, and sometimes we paint them with gold. And sometimes we just kind of put them back together and sort of mull our way forward. But it
Mhm.
can be that we choose to make that one of the most beautiful aspects of ourselves. And at my current lifetime moment, and I've had many of these just like you have, and our clients have had, um, yeah, the wheels fall off the bus. Things break all the time. We think life is going to happen a certain way. We set goals, we have expectations. We have ideas and concepts about ourselves and about
Mhm.
the world we live in and what
Mhm.
our story is going to be and what our life's going to be. And then it's not at all what happens.
Mm. Well, so tell us, so you've been training for Ironman. So we're recording this in October of 2024, or November now. Shoot, excuse me. It's November, just entered November. Holy smokes. And you
Yes.
started like 9 months ago,
Yes.
11 months ago now,
That is
training for
correct.
this race.
Mhm.
And you and I were talking about like, it hasn't always gone as planned,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
don't live in this vacuum of like, I brought up, it just reminded me when I was growing up, gymnast Nadia Comaneci was a thing, at that time. And, it was seemed like very Russian, Cold War
Regimented.
area, regimented, like you're just like a robot kind of training, which they now find, if you look at Simone, what's her last name?
Biles.
Biles,
Biles. Mhm.
how it's like sort of the opposite. Like do it with fun and flavor and excitement and creativity. Like you get way more performance, right? And so for you, you're like, as you started this, the road that you were on with your Ironman training, want to hit it hard, personal record, like going to come back and all this stuff. You got hired a coach and get into and it's like, and that there was some friction there because you are a woman that's got a lot going on in her life. You're not Nadia Comaneci in a silo with like everything protected around you. Like all your bills are
Yeah.
paid, food's prepared, coaches working on your muscles and all this. Here's your training plan. Just follow this, right? You're like,
Yeah.
excuse me, right?
Yeah. A quick shout out about Simone Biles. If you
Oh,
haven't seen her Netflix, fairly
yeah.
recent docu-series,
Okay.
must watch.
Okay.
The 4-part series. It's absolutely beautiful. She's a phenomenal human being. But to understand her life story and then her recent accomplishment at the Olympics, of course. But you got to see the lead up.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
I
it's a
haven't seen
must
it.
watch. It's a must watch. Boom.
Okay.
So yeah, currently some of my shenanigans are up against this Iron Woman that I have in 2 weeks as of tomorrow. In 2 weeks, I
Yeah.
toe the line to go
Yeah.
140.6 miles of swimming, biking, and running.
Yes.
So yes, I made a commitment to take a break from ultra running and adventure, move myself back into triathlon, which I did back in the day, toe the line at a full iron distance triathlon, Ironman Arizona specifically on November 17th. And then I made an additional commitment to myself and set a goal for myself at 55 to PR in the iron distance, which means I would go faster than I went in my original race, full iron distance 13 years ago, when I was much younger, obviously, and had a lot of things different. And then I marched myself down that path. Yes, I hired a coach. I got much more regimented about my training and stuff. I also have been a certified coach and had a tri club, whatever. So I know some things about training. And I also know a lot about myself as an athlete after all of these years, what to do, what not to do, what I'm capable of. And, but I was looking for new, exciting, more structure, whatever it might be. Met a lot of resistance in that experience. Very little adaptation was allowed for me or understanding for me, the individual. And that doesn't resonate with me. I'm a coach and I coach humans for a living. And I have a value set there. So there was a lot of personal conflict there that I felt wasn't going to work for me. And then secondarily, life started happening pretty quickly where I travel for work, I produce events, I have a family. I have, elder parent care. I have a brother who has cancer. I have a lot of other things that I'm committed to doing with my life besides training for one race. So, within reason, I will do what it takes to reach my goals. And I'm very committed to my athletic goals, as you know. But you have to be able to be nimble and to be able to adapt and weekly make adjustments and so on and so forth. All of that said, I ended up letting go of that coaching myself. And I really was crushing it, to be honest, and feeling great about my training, fitting it in between everything, still meeting my family obligations, my work obligations, and balancing life while training 20 hours a week of swimming, biking, running, which is no joke. But all of that said, I came back from this last trip where, when I do these production trips, especially at this very, very high level, I cannot train. I am working 12 hours, sometimes 20 or 24 hours a day to produce these events. And I'm committed to that and I love it. I'm not complaining, but you lose big blocks of training time. And then getting off the plane and proceeding to be sick for the last 3-4 days now, I realized very quickly that my original goal of the PR is probably not realistic. It would take a small miracle for that to occur at this point. And I had to come to terms with that and realize that I also have other goals, right? I am there with great intention and purpose to do this in honor of my brother who is battling for his life with cancer. That's much more important than if I'm going to PR.
Mhm.
I'm there because this is a lifestyle choice that I make. And I love the community and everything that goes with the fact that I train ultra endurance as a
Mhm.
lifestyle and
Mhm.
all of the other things that means to me. And all of
Mhm.
the other rewards I get mentally, spiritually, and emotionally that are completely secondary to any kind of performance I would have.
I want to put a pin in that, and I just want to ask you, when you started to think about, oh crap, I've been throwing up for 48 hours, and you go and you do the math on when your race is in 2 weeks, and if you don't know about Ironman level and just, what level you need to be at this point of the game, like 2 weeks out, it's not deathly sick. Like that would not be what you would want to be. When you
No.
face that moment, what was going through your mind and how did you navigate it? What did that inner conversation start to sound like? It would be great for us to like walk through the way you approached it and how, and maybe it was like, oh my God, I was like, ah, or maybe it wasn't. Was it graceful? How did it go?
Well, of course, I'm a human being, just like everybody else listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
So for a little while, I was pissed off. Okay.
Mhm.
And then I was sad. And then I was trying to navigate and negotiate around it all, denial.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
What can
Exactly.
I do? What can I do? Oh, I can't go running at all, but I can jump in the pool and I
Mm.
can swim 4,000 meters. Like you start
Wow.
doing all these. I needed to see really where I was at. And it
Mm.
was this compounding interest of being off my training cycle and then being sick that
Mhm.
really, like, for me it wasn't like I trained all the way up to that point and now I'm in taper. Because a lot of the listeners would be like, don't worry about it, you're tapering now.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was
But
just
not
off
quite.
training cycle for 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
last month I was off for another 2 weeks. So it was this compounding interest, if you will, that
Yeah.
accumulated and ended in the illness. So I had to really do a reflection on all of that, take inventory, if you will, and say, okay, have I done enough to still be able to reach my primary target goal of the
Mhm.
PR? Honest evaluation? No.
Mhm. Mhm.
Acceptance. Accept
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Being
But
pissed off does nothing. Being sad does nothing.
well, so what was it like going from sad, pissed off to like, how did you like, did you
Ride
just,
the roller coaster.
yeah, like, did you just naturally go, oh, I'm no longer pissed? Or like, were you pissed off for like a long time and then you just got tired of being pissed off? Or I'm just curious, because this is like important, like these steps that you're navigating,
Mm.
it can go different directions, right? And so
Yes.
I'm wanting to like hone in on how you kept from going down the dark road and you stayed in the path of intention, right? Like tied to,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. In my own experience and also in working with other humans in these areas, setting big, audacious goals, and then how bumpy is it on the way to the start line, whatever, if it's business or financial or whatever, it's all the same, really. Many, many times, maybe historically in the past when I was younger and didn't have the frame of mind and spiritual grounding that I have now, sense of
Mhm.
value and self-worth for
Mhm.
myself in the world, I would have bailed. And I've
Mm.
seen many people bail or attempt to bail
Mhm.
because it's like, if I can't reach that primary goal, it's all for nothing.
Mm.
Surrender. That was never a consideration for me.
Mhm.
Bailing was never an option, never even crossed my mind. So I
Mhm.
didn't have to do tango with that
Mhm.
dark horse, if you
And
will.
that goal wasn't crushed for you,
Yeah,
meaning there was still like the doorway was still open. We talked about, when a doorway closes, another one opens, but this one was like the door's still open. It just doesn't quite look like the doorway or the path that it did, you know, 30 days ago or something, 2 weeks ago.
totally. So in this particular instance, talking specifically about my Iron Woman in 2 weeks, like I can still get myself to the race. I can survive and perform to a certain extent within the race. I will finish my secondary goal, which is to cross the finish line and do it in honor of my brother. That's all still happening.
Mhm.
That's not gone. We totally recognize in some instances life occurs, and we've both had this, and there is no secondary opportunity. Things are no longer an option. There is no plan B, C, D, E, or F. And so navigating those, I mean, I've closed businesses.
Mhm.
I've left relationships. You've done all these things too. Like there's hard closures and the heartbreak,
Mhm.
anger, sadness, acceptance, the stages of grief, if you will, that come with those. And then there's instances like this where you can pivot to
Mhm.
secondary reasons for doing what you're doing, staying connected to your why, and your why being so much broader than that one little thing.
And the word that we talked about that I think this is the best use of this word is resilience, right? And the definition I have it here is the ability to bounce or spring back into shape, position, the ability to recover strength, spirits, good humor quickly, like buoyancy, right? Like your
Yeah.
spirit is still high and carrying you through, right? It's not like down in the doldrums, I'm resigned, I give up or whatever. You're like, okay, like you've got that resilient muscle, if you will. You've
Mhm.
had to practice, and sometimes we have to go up against a lot of resistance to create resilience in the spirit, in the body, in the makeup of who we are, how we see ourselves. You're like, I'm not a giver upper. You're like, I go for my goals. They maybe need to be adjusted, modified, set back. Time frames maybe need to shift. My expectation of like how high I can fly maybe needs to come down a little bit because I can only jump this far. I can only, go at this speed or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I still have that buoyancy. I still have that resilience to want to go at it, right?
You know what's a big skill set I recognized in myself, and I hold deep appreciation for myself having, is the ability to troubleshoot.
Oh yeah. Because that's what you went into, right?
I
Right.
went into troubleshooting mode. Ding, 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 ding. This is who you are in the world too. You are the
Yeah, yeah,
queen of troubleshooting,
yeah.
the most solution-oriented human I know. Let's look at all the opportunities and options, right? So having
Yeah,
that skill set and
yeah.
being able to navigate that, and I understand not everybody has had a lifetime of experience like you and I have
Mm, mm,
learning this tool.
yeah.
I mean, that's
So
money, dude. That's the money.
you talk about it in business. So here's just a funny thing. I will try to see if I can tell this story in a way that it conveys, people are listening to this audio, not visual, but if you can picture, so we built a new garage in this person's home, right? His old garage had a sink. Hey, I wanted a sink in my new garage. Oops, we forgot. All right. So the thing's basically constructed. There was plumbing in the
Oops.
wall but it was put in the wrong location. It doesn't have like an exit. And so there's like 3 feet of concrete outside where this, like, I mean, like thick, like 3 feet and thick, right? It's like, how do we get the plumbing out of this sink that this man wants and expects in his, and he's like, oh my God, you have to cut. And then we had just laid that concrete. Like this concrete was not like 20 years old. And he's like, I don't care, just cut it up. It's like, no, actually, that's pretty new. So anyway, and I was like, okay, these are plumbing pipes. So like talk about troubleshooting. I'm like, if X exit is not very viable, is there a Y? Is there an A? Is there another way? And I started like troubleshooting through all the walls of the house. I'm like, where else is plumbing in this house? How can we get plumbing uphill? I'm like, and then I started, because that's kind of what you need to do. It's like usually it just drops right by the sink and then it just goes out the house. I'm like, the nearest plumbing is about 20 feet away. And then my mind went, well, I'm sure we're not, this is California, we don't have a lot of basements. I'm like, I'm sure there's people on the East Coast who have sinks in the basement and they need to get them uphill. How do they get them uphill? Right. And so I
Mhm.
started thinking, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little off track, but like, yeah, it's this, the door to like cutting in this concrete is kind of like, yeah, I really don't want that. Right. How do we, and I'm still working on that. I don't have the exact solution, but working on that solution. And that's where we show up to life. It wasn't like I just went, all right, boys, let's go home. We're not going to have a sink here. It's like, no, we
Exactly.
still have to have a sink. It's just, well, how's it going to look and where's it going to go? And actually some of the team members that I play with, like they love these challenges. And that's how like some of these things are fun. I was talking to one of my kind of handymen and I was like, do you think we can get this to go over 20 feet? And I was like, maybe a pump like they do in back east when they need to get it literally upstairs. Like, is there something like that? Never done that because in California, everything usually downhill kind of thing. And he's like, oh my God, I found something on Amazon. I think we can like plumb it, no problem. And I was like, oh my God, right? And
This is the beauty of it,
yeah.
right? So whether it's a goal that is no longer within reach for whatever reason, things get in the
Mhm,
way, things change,
mhm,
whatever
mhm,
circumstances, all of these instances that we're giving, I mean, on the daily, this comes up in our everyday lives, and in big risk takers like you and I are, you building homes, remodeling homes, building communities, me doing all the stuff I do. I mean, we're risk takers. We're putting ourselves into situations where shit's going to go terribly wrong all the
Mhm.
time. If you think there is one path to reach the end goal,
Mm.
you are terribly confused, and
Mm.
also you will be terribly disappointed.
Well,
That's not going to work.
well, I would think here's something that's coming to me as you're talking. I was like, I don't really have as much to say and how this relates because when we were talking about this topic, and I was thinking mostly about your race, but I think about, this house that I'm remodeling right now. And you have this architect 9 months ago, a year ago, whatever, drew some lines on a piece of paper and said, build it like this, right? And it's like, there you go. This
In
is
concept.
Yeah, this is right. And this is what we do in life. I want life to look like this. And we
Mm,
design it, we structure it, we put the bathrooms here. We say, I'm going to have this house and this person in my life, and I'm going to look this way and whatever. And then life goes, and it adjusts. It puts little roadblocks. It says, oh, that material, if I could tell you how many times that, oh, that material is not available right now shows up. Oh, we can't ship that to California. Like, oh, hey, architect, did you know you spec something that we can't get here in this state? Stuff. I'm like, try plan
oops.
B, right? And so going off or being so married, we have this thing in construction that's called an as-built, which means we take the architect's original plans and then at the end we say, this is actually how it was built. Like it was built like this or as built like this, so that the client knows this is where you thought, that gold, talk about that little gold in the
Mhm.
in whatever
Exactly.
type of thing, in the Kintsugi or whatever it's called. Like we fill in the cracks with adjustments that need to make changes that need to take place. And I guess, as we talk, maybe it's my work as a project manager that's made me better in life to adaptability, resilience, changes in all kinds of plans. I would like to say I feel like a little bit of my world traveler-ness, my, like you said, risk taker-ness out in the world, like the amount of times plans didn't go on a trip or a flight was canceled or a train did, whatever. Like
Mhm.
that's, if you try and navigate yourself through life, whether it's, from one state to the next or one country to the next or relationship to the next, like there's all sorts of things that you're adapting to. And
That's
what
probably why you thrive so much in adventure racing and Spartan.
mm,
And for me, in producing events, where from moment
events.
to moment, you literally do not know what's happening. You think you know what's happening. It's not that we don't have a plan.
Yeah.
Oh, we have plans. We have hundreds of pages of plans and timelines and all the things.
Yeah.
But you get there on site with this team and this influence, and then the weather, and then the whatever, and all the moving parts and pieces. And then, by the way, here comes 2,700 athletes and all their friends and family, right? And the amount of renegotiating, if
Yeah.
you will, that
Yeah.
nimbleness and willingness to look above and beyond the moments of what appear to be crisis or challenge and see
Mhm.
them as opportunity.
Mhm.
Maybe we're not going to do it that way. Maybe we can actually do it better.
Mhm.
Maybe
Mhm.
there's room here to do it better or differently
Mhm.
and have the experience be more rich. I'm wondering for yourself, I'm super curious about this. I just came out of this experience. I'm experiencing it myself with the Iron Woman race in 2 weeks, but then also I just came out of this giant production. How do you stay in it so you can be that person who is open?
Mhm.
What skills are you utilizing to be the one who is solution oriented,
Mhm.
looking at the possibilities?
Mhm. Two things came to mind as soon as you said that. One is you never lose sight of the goal. Like my purpose is to craft as beautifully a finished product for the person that has asked for it as possible,
That's the why.
right? That's my motivation is like my outcome is the same. Like bear with us.
Mhm.
Things, forces, materials may not be, concrete's in the way, oh, whatever. Like, oh, Um, and then I would say, and I think you would say this too, in terms of events, is the people you surround yourself with,
Mhm.
right? So I just this morning, it's funny, this morning I was having this friction call because or communications with one of my subcontractors because the people I like to surround myself with, the subs I like to surround myself with, are on the team called client success. Like if
Mhm.
we all put as a team, like we all want to do well, we all want, profit and success and timelines and everything like that. And they have to be adaptable, right? But if we stay working as a team, the goal is much more possible than if one has issue and restriction and doesn't perform and constantly has excuses or something. It's like the function of that team, right? Like I think about you trying to put on, like, I've been around you and in the events, some of them somewhat, the events that you participate in, and you navigate it so gracefully and so beautifully. And when you don't have performing people, some of the people around you can pick up that, if you will, but very long, you don't keep inviting that person back to come and play again, right?
Right.
It's
You
like
can't.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, you just go, this is the game we're playing here, and you don't seem to like to play in the sandbox, so maybe just go play in another sandbox. Uh,
I'd say those generally tend to be the people that get lost in their own agenda or mindset or cave of suffering around not being able to adapt or see or understand the end goal, staying focused on like what you're saying. Ours
Mhm,
is in event production on this level, the athlete experience and safety
mhm, mhm,
comes above everything and all things. Nothing is more
mhm,
important. So, like, if they don't understand the clarity there and can't toe that line, because that's a critical line, and then the fact that we as a team will be doing this, succeeding or failing together as a unit. There's no
mhm,
individuality. It
mhm,
doesn't matter who you are, what
mhm,
level of role you play, right?
mhm.
Everybody is
Right,
critical to the
right.
success of that. And then I would just add, for me personally, being there in these instances and then generally being in some kind of leadership role, whatever, in whatever capacity, is me just staying fully in tune and aware with the individuals and what's going on around me. I mean, I do have that spider sense. It's a little bit of who I am in the world. And same for
Mhm,
you. Like, I can easily read, this is after years of doing this work, but
mhm,
read people's body language, their verbal cues, their energetic cues, or whatever, and be like, oh, before this becomes a problem, I can see what's going on over here with this department or this group of people or in this area or
mhm, mhm,
whatever
mhm,
the dynamic is. And putting myself in that position, which means I have to take really good care of myself.
mhm,
So the self-care element under high stakes situations or high crisis or high pressure or whatever we're talking about here, the self-care is number one. If I
mhm,
haven't fed myself, slept properly, done whatever I need to keep myself calm, cool, and collected, so I can have my spidey senses, my
mhm.
capacity is what you and I call it,
Yes.
being open, having
Mhm,
capacity, I
mhm,
can't be of service
mhm.
to others.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
so, when something like whatever all the things are called life are happening, if you aren't very, you used the term resiliency, I'll use the term, if you don't have the capacity, if you have not created for yourself a level of capacity, you won't be able to tolerate the change. You won't be nimble. You won't be
Mhm,
able to service others. Like, all of those things are just cut short. They're
mhm.
not
That's
there.
true.
They're
Yeah,
not
you're
resources.
not having your own needs met or something like that. You have no capacity for giving more, or like overflowing with it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Totally. Totally.
well, so I want to join back to this, or I want to go back to this, like to join with gold. I love that. And you had something that I wanted you to read about the Kintsugi as well. So, what I think
So
is
good.
so amazing about looking at this. So I was trying to coach one of my clients in when things weren't going well, like on a job, and it was like, this isn't showing up how I expected, right? Like why is this dark gray and it should be light gray or something like that, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
you
Why is this
know,
not perfect?
right. And I'm like, one of the phrases that I try to stay in kind of a Zen space with life, and as I dance with life, is um everything is always working out. And if it's not working out, it's not done yet. Right. So, like, just keep
Mm,
allowing this to unfold and see where this is going. I mean, life is excuse me, fucking perpetuity. Like it keeps going. Right. And
yeah.
if you just snapshot in this moment, you go, ah, this shouldn't be happening. I think this Kintsugi, it says you celebrate the flaws and missteps, like celebrate them, right? And there's a whole philosophy that I've learned and adopted about the ability to recognize in the moment when you have resistance or frustration or something, it's like you're actually creating what you do want. Like you're getting clarity in that moment. Like, I don't want dark gray, I want light gray, right? Or I wanted light gray. And it's like, I get more clear about the desire that I have to create and manifest what I want. Some people lose sight of just, this isn't right, this isn't right, this isn't right, it's wrong, 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 wrong. And they just sort of anchor themselves and hold themselves in the resistance instead of to, well, everything is always working out for me. And if this isn't the way that I want it, it's just not worked out yet. And I just haven't gotten there. We need to keep finding the solution to where the sink is going to go and how we're going to, it's like, it's okay. The sink doesn't, it's not in its final position. We still have time to figure out where it's going to go and blah, 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 just staying with that, right?
And at the root of that element where people think it's either one way or their way, like there's a right way, right? Is this control, fear, anxiety, all of these things that are not actually very positive experiences at all.
Mhm.
So living in that on the daily is really not a healthy place to be.
Right. Right. Talk about decreasing your capacity, right? So the more we resist what is going on in life,
Hmm.
guess where that resistance lives?
Inside of us,
Inside of us. The resistance
literally.
isn't out in life, it's inside of us,
Yeah. Mhm.
creating tension and breakdown of cells, whatever you want to call it. It's structural, it's creating inflammation, stress on the body, nervous system, your mitochondria, all the things are
Mhm.
under resistance instead of being optimized and like free to flow and feel good. And I've been feeling some of that myself. The stress that I'm feeling is me not allowing sometimes the things that are happening in life. I've got project deadlines and things, and I still catch myself in those resistance modes. It's never going to go away, but I stay in the flow with it. I'm like, oh, how do I adapt? Whatever. Like you're like, I'm pissed at the moment, and then I get a little sad, and then I go, okay, on to troubleshooting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And if we have this idea that our spouse or our boss or an employee is wrong, they're not meeting our expectations or doing it our way, we're causing ourselves suffering and angst. It's not about them at all. It's about
Yeah.
our own interpretation of the situation and our expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when we release that resistance to what's going on, one of the things that I like to say is there's what's so, like what's happened or is happening, unfolding in life. And then there's so what? Like, so what? Like, what's your story about that? Like, this shouldn't happen. This is frustrating. This is causing me delays. This person is upsetting me, whatever it is. Or like you turn and you bounce back, right? You have the resilience to see, well, this is just what's so. So what next? What now? Do I adjust my goal? Do I adjust my expectations? Do I give up? Do I totally, change course? Do I just let it go? Do I accept? Do I surrender? What is it? What is the story that this moment is bringing to life for you? Maybe there's a seed of growth in this. Maybe there's a new clarity about something that you do want to create, something that you want better or you want different for yourself. Maybe like, oh, like I just had this with someone else where we had negotiated a price and then I thought it was different and I overlooked something, right? And it's
Mhm.
like, well, I have to accept that I didn't see that, right? And it's like
Mhm.
I could create like in that moment I was like, resistance. But I was like, am I going to hold on to that resistance towards this person that I care for very I'm like, that doesn't serve anything. I still want this person in my life. They didn't do anything wrong. It was actually me taking responsibility. I missed something, right? How fast do I want to let that go and have no resistance towards that person to, put that situation behind. And sometimes that was a small to medium sized moment, I would say, the
Right.
thing that we were talking about. And sometimes there's bigger ones, like your
Mhm.
race, you've got almost a year of commitment and energy and time and financials that you've put into this. It feels like if that doesn't happen, that feels like a bigger win. Sometimes those are our bigger moments of growth, like, okay, I surrender to what is. And you're like, I'm resilient enough and I'm still committed to the outcome. So
Mhm.
you're going with it, right? And you're going to have a great race. And like you said, in support of your brother's life and what he's up to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, it's keeping the big picture of your life, which means your goals, which means your values,
Mm.
which feed and set precedents for how you even set goals. So your value system and your purpose, if you have that identified, are what is driving any and all of these things.
Mhm.
So if I just lean back on my value system and my purpose for doing the things that I do, no problem.
Mhm. Mhm.
Easy to adjust. I got to read this. It's so.
Please, 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 please. I love this.
And before I read that, I want to just say you also ask this great question all the time that I freaking love, which is, what is this trying to teach me?
Yeah. I wonder what's trying to happen here. What am I supposed to be learning?
What is trying to happen here? Sometimes you say that to me and I go, yeah, what do you mean was that? But it's spot on. It's spot on. That's such a great tool for people to have in their toolbox. It's almost like that should just be tattooed right here. I don't know what people are putting all these tattoos right here. They should put that. I mean, you can just on a daily basis, got it.
P.S. Life is happening. Okay, great, got it. All right. This is what's unfolding. Life is unfolding.
Right? Oh, here we go. The Japanese art of repairing broken pottery is called Kintsugi, which means join with gold. The process involves gluing broken pieces back together with tree sap and then decorating the cracks with gold, silver, or platinum. The goal is to highlight the damage rather than hide it, to embrace the imperfections that make the piece unique and valuable. Kintsugi can represent the idea that beauty can be found in imperfection and that sometimes repairing broken things can create something even more beautiful and more resilient. The process can be a form of meditation and a mindful practice that encourages people to fix rather than discard. What? I'm in love with this.
I love it. I love it.
We're going to teach this art class. You're going to be the art instructor.
I was going to say, we talked about, your life is art, right? And so
So good.
one of the things I picked up when you said that is like highlighting the imperfections. And I think even a slightly different way of saying that is just highlighting what is, right? Because there is no perfection in life. You look at nature, I mean,
everything's imperfect. Everything's imperfect.
It's beautifully imperfect, right?
Yeah.
It's by design beautifully imperfect. Actually, it's probably more perfect than we could ever think. So we call it imperfect, but it's even more. And it's like highlighting the imperfections or highlighting where you had to take a left or you had to change this or you had to try, whatever. And sometimes those detours of life take us down roads that we never expected, but we were actually supposed to go. Right?
Oh, yes, we were.
Right.
All the times I can think of, really.
Yeah.
If this didn't occur, which seemed like, a life-altering negative crisis moment at the time, you wouldn't have met this person and gone here and experienced that and et cetera and et cetera. I love to think back on moments, you do this too, where it's like the happenstance of like meeting somebody or going to a place that would have never occurred if you didn't get on the wrong train or shown up at the wrong time, or which we call them wrong, but they're not wrong at all. There's nothing wrong about these situations. This is how it's meant to be happening. It's magic.
As Steve Jobs so beautifully said, it's, we can connect the dots looking backwards, right? We can connect the dots of our life looking backwards, can't always see it in the moment. And so I think what we want to impress upon people here in this dialogue that we've had, which has been so beautiful, based out of your blip or your dip in, how you're feeling, but it's given us a moment to celebrate the pause, to celebrate the imperfection. And no, I don't wish you to feel bad and another day or another minute, that. It's just and I, about 2 weeks ago, I also had a flu, not as severe as you've had. But I can tell you okay, so there was 2 moments that I remember in this experience of this flu or cold or whatever it was. Just before, let's say, the onset, or I knew what was happening, I remember driving down the road and maybe I was parked at a stop sign or a stoplight, right? So I had just a moment of pause and I just did sort of a body scan and I checked in with my body and I went, wow, I am not well right now. And the next thought I went was, am I always going to feel this way? Like, as you age, it's like, oh, is something severely wrong? Is something that, the mind's like, right? Because I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
going through some endocrine changes and my thyroid medication has changed, menopause, all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, have I suddenly like tipped the curve of my life and I'm going downhill now, you might say, right? And I was like, oh my God. And then so like then I got sick, and then I was like, "Rah," and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to feel better, right? And in those moments we appreciate more than ever, a man a woman or man who has their health has many dreams. And
Oh,
a man who has no health has but one, and that's to have health, right? And so we can't take those things for granted. And I'm sure as you bounce back from this even more, we kind of like appreciate, even if we're not where we were, as we age, and there maybe is a perpetual, curve to it. Some of us have more steep curve, whatever, but we can appreciate the now. And I mean, I do this so much with my aging kitty cats, and I sit with them and I'm just like, oh my God, I love you so much. I just love that you're feeling good, right? And
yeah, yeah,
feeling that
totally.
flow. So,
Totally. I was talking earlier, I told you so I have my brother who's in cancer treatment, and I have my cousin who I basically grew up with. This is like a sister to me, who's also in cancer treatment. It's crazy. This is all. And we had a long 2.5 hour conversation.
mm,
And she was asking about my Iron Woman coming up and all these things. And I was like, dude, it's not chemotherapy.
mm,
It's not radiation. It sure the
yeah,
hell isn't fighting cancer. This ain't nothing. I
no,
got this,
yeah,
because she's just like blown away. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? You've been battling for your damn life, the shit you're going through. So
yeah,
it's like this stark contrast that sometimes we need to have these moments of challenge with
right.
our health or a loved one's health or whatever, where we have this wake up.
Mhm,
Wake the hell up, people.
mhm, mhm,
And then take this precious life and body and
mhm,
brain and do something with it.
mhm,
And
mhm.
the last thing you should be doing is thinking it should be perfect. Just get
Yeah.
on living. Just get on
Or
living.
resisting what is. It's like it is what it is. You create resistance in your body, which, suppresses your immune system, your joy, your emotional body, all of it, takes the dip, takes the hit when we do that. I'm speaking to myself right now, so this is for you guys and for me as well, is like let go of those things that are causing the resistance, the story, the tension, whatever it is, and let's be in acceptance and surrender and flow with it, kind of be in the boat of life, riding the waves instead of, crashing on the shore and like holding onto the side, like, damn it, I want to go that way.
Yeah,
So,
and learn the skill that we double clicked on, which is troubleshooting. And if you don't have that skill, start learning it.
mm,
And if you need help with those skills, call us or get with a friend who has those skills. Right? Don't just sit in your shit, if you will,
mm,
and make yourself miserable. Find resources, they're available to
mm,
you
mm, mm,
to navigate those storms and
mm,
build the resiliency, build the skill set
mm,
to
mm,
continue to bounce back forever,
mm. Yeah.
forever.
We talked about that spectrum, and I just want to remind you of the story that you tell in the moment that resistance shows up, not feeling well, something you didn't expect, imperfection, whatever starts to happen as the bowl starts to crack and create, imperfection, right? Is the story that you tell will give you that next level experience, right? So you went through the phases of emotions as you rode through anger, resistance to what's happening, sad to like, oh, some things aren't going to turn out the way that I wanted to. Okay, what can I do about it? Right. And so
Mhm.
the faster we can go through those phases will give us a different trajectory, a different outcome. If we stay in the first one, resistance, pissed off, screw it, I won't do it, then our life takes a different turn. And that maybe it's supposed to, right? Maybe it's supposed to, and maybe that was where you're supposed to go as long as it helps you to feel better. Like, well, I didn't want that anyway, if that's true. If it's not, then get
Or
through it.
maybe you stay stuck.
Yeah, even more for decades. Like
Your
that
life is passing you by and you're stuck way back there, still thinking about that. Well, that's helpful.
yeah, not. So, all right, my
Please,
dear.
please pick up the phone.
Let's how do we
Let's close this
summarize this?
baby.
What's the one thing? What's the one takeaway for you that, you've been, feeling this week? What's your takeaway as you kind of
Uh,
brought us to this?
Kintsugi,
Mm.
this beautiful Japanese art that's been happening, by the way, since 1336.
Yeah.
They got some knowledge that we didn't apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fact that this became an art form, I mean, is a great example of how us, me, the individual, us, the collective humans, can also be living our lives in that way with how we would acknowledge cracks or brokenness in the path, the journey, the self, the whatever. Like turn it into beauty, turn it
Gold,
into
right?
gold, turn it into art.
Yeah. So, as I'm reading a little definition here, it's just remember that I don't know if I'm going to remember that name, Kintsugi, but, join with gold, right? To join with gold is a reminder to stay optimistic when things fall apart and to celebrate the flaws and missteps of life. So, how can you recognize, oh, I'm in one of those moments. This is one of those missteps, flaws, frustrations, whatever, I'm a creator moment, and to find the gold in it.
Dude, I'm gonna get this tattooed on me. You think I'm kidding? Kintsugi.
Yeah.
I'm getting that tattooed on me. This is going down.
By Iron Man, Iron Woman.
With an M dot, it'll be all like crack with the gold. Oh, I totally am into this. This is happening.
I like it.
Boom.
All
Okay.
right.
Love you,
All
lady.
right, people. So, what do we want to remind our beautiful humans as we wrap today, my friend?
Oh, well, hello. How your life feels is more important than how it looks, people.
Yes. And every day is your opportunity to find your awesome.
Boom.